Let's agree on one thing here. You don't get to talk about hostages or hostage diplomacy unless you are a hostage, you're a family member of a hostage, or you're a fucking expert, okay? Because if I hear one more person talking about how great terrorists are treating the hostages, I'm gonna lose my shit here. This is too personal right now. My dad called my family a week ago, and usually I'm able to put a post up, but I couldn't. One, because of the amount of bullshit going on social media and everywhere, the regular media, the streets and everything. Two, because my dad, who's been a hostage for 3.5 years, kidnapped by the Islamic regime and tortured in their torture chamber in solitary confinement for over 1,185 days, was speaking to my mother, and I couldn't even understand the words that he's using because he's so weak. He's so weak after so long that he can't pronounce words. Okay? Imagine that. And you don't know, is it because they knocked out his fucking teeth? Is it because he hasn't spoken to a normal person for 3.5 years? Is it because he's dying slowly? Is that his last phone call? You don't know it. All you know is you can't understand his words. That's how bad they're treating him. And then we have these people out there that look at hostages from Hamas that were released, and their performance right there, their performance, and it is a performance if you know anything about hostage diplomacy. When you release the first hostages, they are supposed to perform and tell the world how well they were treated. That's what they're supposed to do, because otherwise they get killed, or the people that are still there, like their husbands, their loved ones, they get killed. So this is a performance, okay? And if you don't know that, then go and read up about hostages. Don't make statements, because they can drive people really, really crazy. Second, if you're actually dumb enough to believe that hostages are taken care of and treated well and fed and blah, 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 and all of these things, you are not just insane. You also don't understand hostages are not worth anything if they're dead. Ergo, you have to feed them. Ergo, you have to give them basic shit to make sure that they don't die away, because a dead hostage is not worth anything anymore, okay? Terrorists take hostages for exactly that reason, to put pressure on other governments. That's what's happening between Hamas and Israel right now. That's what happens between the Islamic regime and European countries and the US and all over the world. That's what's happened between Russia and the US, and all of these hostage takers, all of these terrorists use hostages for these purposes. That's all. That's what they're being used for. To gain something politically, to put out propaganda into the world that they're so good and so great and that they had the right to do that and how well they were treated. And that's it. So please, please, if you don't know, now you know. I have witnessed my own dad talk about his hostage takers in a way that makes them look humane, like they are his bodyguards. They're his guards for his security. That's what he was thinking. And all I was thinking was like, these are the people that are trying to kill you. So you don't know if he's under pressure and has to say that, or if he has developed Stockholm syndrome. But what I know is that these are still criminals, terrorists, and hostage takers. And in no world would I come out and tell you guys, well, my dad just called and he says he has bodyguards. Actually, they're treating him so right. They're saving his life. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Can't you see? Can't you see that these are hostages? The very definition of hostages, the very definition of hostage takers. How can we not agree on that? How can you put out this insanity into the world? I'm really, really trying to not lose my shit on this. But after we're talking about hostages for decades, after the Iran revolution has talked about hostages and political prisoners and forced confessions, you still haven't learned the basic things? If that's clear now, let's all agree on one thing. Hostage takers, bad people. Terrorists, bad people. Terrorism, bad. Killing civilians, bad. Can we agree on that? And then let's move on to the real problem, which is the people in power. And I'm talking about Europe, I'm talking about all of the West, the US, all of these administrations that are talking about human rights, that are talking about peace, that are talking about all of these things that sound so great, but still funding the biggest terrorists in the world, the Islamic regime of Iran, who are funding all of the other proxy terrorists. Can we address that now? Can we talk about how they failed to bring my dad and other Americans back while they were handing these terrorists $6 billion? Can we talk about how he is now in more danger than before? Can we talk about how we have now 200 more hostages? And I don't understand, if they failed before to bring my dad back, how in the world are they going to save him now? How in the world are they planning to get everybody out right now? Can anybody explain that to us? Can we ask our governments what they're going to do right now and how they can prevent future hostages? And if we can agree on terrorists bad, can we also agree on Western countries' policies very, very bad, especially in the last decade, where we've handed terrorists billions of dollars since the original Obama nuclear, whatever they want to call it, deal, we call it a scam. They've been funding these terrorists and then wondered why we have all of these hostages everywhere, all of this terrorism everywhere, and why we have this fucking mess right now. So can we agree on that now? That this was wrong? And can we also agree that we need to hold our governments accountable? We cannot go and ask terrorists to stop, but we can go to our own governments and show them with this proof, you have done everything wrong. And from now on, we want you to listen to us. And when I mean us, I need all of the people, from the Iranian diaspora to the people of Iran, to everybody who's fighting these terrorists. Listen to us and change your policies. Stop supporting these terrorists. Start supporting the people who are fighting the terrorists. Number one people who are fighting terrorists for decades, and especially in the last year, are the people, the women and the men in Iran. That's where we have to focus on right now.